Every year, the best Deadman sigils are worth hundreds of millions of GP, and getting just a few of those will be enough for you to get some of the best gear for the finals, or just to sell on 07 and make an absolute fortune. In Deadman Reborn, I farmed them in the wilderness right under the noses of thousands of PKs by killing the skeletons under the agility course when no one thought to check. In Apocalypse, tons of people went to God War's dungeon, and I was only about 30 tiles away from the entrance, but again, no one thought to check an area where your health and your stats get trained, because surely no one would be killing things there, even though it was very simple to bypass using the Sigil of Resilience and Super Restores. So I've gone and checked all the different places that you can do this year that are out the way, where you can AFK or secret multi-combat areas that not many PKs are going to check, where you can farm these sigils and make a ton of money. These were the formulas for the chance to hit the global loot table last time, which includes the sigils, but I've tried to simplify it. Now, it's been a long time since I last did this, but I think I've worked it out correctly in a way that's much easier to understand. So according to the information in Deadman Reborn, which wasn't changed for Apocalypse, there's a 50-50 chance to get a sigil when you hit the drop table, and the tier of that sigil depends on what bracket that you're in. Now, while some tier 2 sigils will be good money this year, such as the 3 new ones that make combat styles over 4 ticks in speed 1 tick faster. Usually though, tier 3 sigils are worth the most, and you can only get those in bracket 4 or more commonly in 5. This graph shows you the likelihood of getting each sigil in each combat bracket. The first place you can do this that I don't expect PKs to check is the Sophanem dungeon. It's full of traps, various levels, and a ton of different ways to go. No one actually knows it very well. We just follow the line during the quest that quest helper tells us to do, like a good little boy, and we never go back to this awful place. Within here though are some Scarab Mages and Locust Riders that can easily be farmed for sigils out of the way down one of the dead ends during Deadman. The likelihood of a PK going through all of those traps in every single corridor you would think is pretty small. Another place that would be a pain for PKs to check and very easy to escape is the Stronghold of Security. Going through almost every single door on every level would be about as much fun as watching England in the Euros. Then even if someone found you, the 2 doors close to each other make it a simple escape, going back and forth through both of them until you can finally tell it away. As an added bonus, the first floor is also multi-combat, and higher up there's also Ankus here that you can safe spot too. Another multi-spot that you may get away with is the hills above the gate on atoll, where you can find monkey archers. The only players likely to be in this area are those doing monkey madness, so you would like to think you're not going to get spotted very often. There's a few other good spots in this area too. You can go to the basement of the main building and kill zombie monkeys, because there's a room right at the back that we don't normally go into and has around 20 in there, which are also multi-combat. Sadly though, they have a very small aggro range, so you can only barrage 5 or 6 at a time, but very few people realise that this place is here. Upstairs is also some monkey guards that are combat level 167 with just 130 health. Because of their level, they'll roll a sigil drop 1 in every 75 kills, making this one of the fastest ways to get them outside of barraging. Mauritania's Spider Nest is another rarely used multi-combat area, and there's a few rune items you can get as a drop, plus herbs, runes and seeds, and they're very weak to magic and melee. It's quite hard to get a large clump of these together, but again you can barrage around 5 or 6 at a time. You're also going to need anti-venom for this one, but you can get them from supply drops, so they shouldn't be too expensive on the GE. And these also drop hard clue scrolls if you're looking for somewhere out of the way to farm them quickly. The Shilo Village quest auto unlocks in bracket 5, or you can do it manually before then, and that gives you access to the cave near the Crown fishing spot. There is a health drain within here, but one of the health regen sigils will completely counter that, and it's a spot I'd be very surprised if many players checked, and it has some level 61 skeletons and 68 zombies down here. Just to the south, completing the Legends quest fully or partially means you can access the Kharazi jungle cave, where at the very back is a bunch of lesser demons, level 82, and as we all know, weak to pretty much everything. The Shade Catacombs is another area very difficult to PK someone in. To access it, you need to kill Shades to get a key, then Shades to get a higher key, and so on until you can access the last room. In here are Urium Shades, which are combat level 140 and literally weak to every single combat style. And even if a PK came, freezing and just walking through any one of these doors would be the easiest escape of your life. The only thing that makes me a little bit wary of this spot is that it's got a bit of a unique drop table where you only ever get Shade Remains. It still should drop sigils, but if you do this method and you go a few hundred dry without a single supply or sigil drop, I would consider it a different area. If it does work though, it's probably one of the best places to do it. Every year, I see players in the Troll Stronghold killing the generals. I'm not a massive fan of this, but it does have a few benefits. They're weak to range, so they can easily be safe spotted, which means if you do see a PK coming, you can instantly teleport away. In Deadman, you can't teleport when you've been in combat for the last 5 seconds, but that only accounts if you've been hit yourself. So safe spotting doesn't stop you from teleporting away. It's viable, but most of the other methods that I'm showing you can be done AFK, and this one can't unless you're going to be in combat, and there's too many people checking, in my opinion, to do that. So I think whatever method you choose, it's better just to kill something AFK with low risk, and if someone finds you, it's no big deal. A better method in this area, in my opinion, is the cave by the icy gate, which contains a ton of ice trolls, and all of them are aggressive towards you and combat level 120 or higher, with just 90 health, and again, weak to everything. Positioning yourself at the top will allow you to see anyone coming in, so you only really have to worry about players logging in next to you. It's a cave, so there's always going to be tons of places to freeze and log out, plus there's an exit to the cave next to you that you can escape by entering and leaving, and using the exit also takes you to another place where you can farm sigils. Outside this is ice wolves, and whilst there aren't many, they have a pretty large aggro range, so even AFK you end up in combat a lot. These have got really low defense and 70 hit points, but the main reason to consider this one is if you bring a wax sled, you can escape down this slope, and it's very unlikely any PK will have one of those to follow and attack you. Even if they did, unless they teleblocked you, the animation takes so long, you'd be able to teleport instantly at the end of it anyway. A very safe method is to range on Entrana. Now usually you can't take any weapons or armor here, but there are ways around it. With the fletching level, you can take logs and bowstrings to make bows, or crossbow limbs and string to make crossbows. You can also bring the d'hide, snakeskin or leather armor to craft whilst you're there, by just bringing in some leather, a needle and some thread. In the dungeon here are some level 92 greater demons, and with a new healing sigil, you should be able to AFK here once you have a decent combat level. Plus, as a bonus, anyone turning up here without gear and doing the quest is an absolutely free kill. At the very bottom of the underground pass, near to where you get the food from the dwarves, there's tons of level 39 spiders that will be aggressive towards you up to level 78. You can completely AFK and kill these here, and it's going to take a seriously dedicated PK to do the underground pass just to check if anyone's here. The healing sigils we have this year also mean you shouldn't need to bring any prayer potions or food, and can simply stay until you get a sigil worth a decent amount. Below White Wolf Mountain, through a maze of ladders, you will end up with the Ice Queen that is combat level 111 and also guarded by 6 Ice Warriors. This tiny little area here is actually multi-combat and everything is close together, so you are able to barrage them all. The downside is that you will have the odd person coming here for the ice gloves, even though everything that requires ice gloves can either be bypassed or is used in a quest that auto-completes. There's always going to be people trying different strategies, and I expect the odd person to be here. Varlamore is interesting and obviously new, but I don't see anywhere here that's going to be safe. The Colosseum is an instance and we don't get sigil drops in instances, and Perilous Moons will be too heavily camped to make it worth your while. There could also be potentially an even better way to get sigils this year, as they're considering allowing us to get them as a 1 in 500 chance from certain skills. I personally don't think that they should, as it would be a botter's paradise, but if they decide to, I'll be doing a video on that as well, as there's some incredibly fast ways to get 500 items from these skills, much faster than you can even kill things for, unless of course you're barraging.